everybody, welcome to my kitchen. Happy holidays. I'm Holly Grainger, and if you were looking for something easy, delicious, good for you, and a little bit sweet, I have just the recipe. I'm partnering with Shipt here today to share the most amazing, super clever, 2-ingredient pumpkin pie cake pop. Let me show you what you're gonna be making. How cute and easy are these little cake pops? I'm going to show you how to make them, and let me tell you, I am not a professional baker. I'm a mom. I like to make easy recipes that have a little bit of a healthy twist. I have 2 little girls and a spouse, and we like to eat well, but we have a sweet tooth. Now, this recipe uses a pumpkin pie Lara bar, and you take this and make it into a cake pop. And then the other ingredient that you need are these candy melts. So let me show you what to do. Now, before I show you how to make the cake pop, let me check on my chocolate. This is key to the entire recipe. It's melting your chocolate. So I got this started before I came on, because sometimes it can take a little bit of time. I'm almost there. You want your chocolate or your candy coating to be just a little bit thicker than paint. So I'm almost there. I might even just do this 8 seconds. Let me show you what I like to use. Get this going really quick. Now I am going to microwave at half capacity. Be sure when you're melting either your candy melts or your chocolate chips that you follow the melting instructions on the back. That's key, because if you overcook your candy, then there's really no way to bring it back, and it's kind of a mess. You have to start all over again. So I've been keeping an eye on this one before we jumped on, because it does take time. It looks like we're there. So let me jump on real quick and show you this. All right. Now, as we get started making these really easy cake pops, I want to tell you to be sure to keep following along during this entire live, because we will be doing a giveaway. I have 3 $100 Shipt credit gift certificates per se to give away during this live. And don't worry, if you're watching it a little bit delayed, you still can be eligible to enter. So I'll have a couple questions coming up, but first, let me know where you guys are watching from. I'm here in Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm so excited to be sharing this recipe with you guys. All right, so my chocolate's melted. I'm gonna let this sit for just a minute. I'm actually gonna go ahead and pop this guy in, because sometimes it can take a while. And those are just green candy melts. And just like I said, I like to do it at about 30-second intervals when I'm using the microwave at half of the heat or half capacity, so that you don't scorch your chocolate. So while that cooks, I have a Lara bar. This is the pumpkin pie flavor. You can use any flavor Lara bar that you like. There's a ton out there, but right now the pumpkin pie is just, it's absolutely my favorite. We've been eating these like crazy. All you wanna do is use your little knife, cut it in half, and then form it into a ball. It's really just that easy. My girls love helping me make these, because it's something that we all can do, all hands on deck here. And I also love making cake pops. When my oldest Ellie turned 1, I had, it was like a pink, of course, a little girl, pink theme party, and I was making cake pops for what felt like days. We made dozens and dozens, and it was like the kind where you make the cake and do the icing and the whole 9 yards. This is so easy, plus you have all of the flavors that you would get from these pumpkin pie Lara bars. So let me show you. So I really like how Lara bars have such a simple label. So dates, cashews, almonds, pumpkin, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, ginger is what it is. And it tastes just like pumpkin pie, especially when you put that candy coating on it. So, all right, so you want to roll these in half. This is about the average size of a cake ball. I have played with them a little bit and cut one of the bars into thirds, but I really like the size that you get when you just do them in half. Now, each box of Lara bars has 5 bars. So this recipe makes 10 servings or 10 cake pops. But the good thing is you don't have to make them all at once. You can make 2 or you can make 22, whatever you prefer. Now I'm not always perfect at getting this round, but you can see it's close enough. Now what I want to do is I have my little lollipop sticks or cake pop sticks. I'll dip this down into my melted chocolate. A little bit farther than I want on that one. Set that right there. You want to dip it down just about 1/2 inch. Just shake off any excess. And then I'm going to insert this into the center of your cake pop ball. You don't want to go all the way through. Just go about halfway. And then I'm just going to let this sit for a minute. Now, if you want to speed up the process, then you can put it in either the refrigerator or the freezer for a few minutes. See, that just goes right in, just to give that chocolate time to harden. So let's let this sit for just a minute. I'm going to check on these green candy melts. Now, one thing that can be kind of deceptive with candy melts is that, and chocolate chips too, white chocolate chips, is that it looks like it hasn't been in the microwave for a minute already. But it's really important, regardless of whether it looks like it's starting to melt or not, you give it a good stir, because a lot of times it's melting and heating up from the inside out. And if you leave it in one place and you don't stir it up, they'll start to scorch. So I'm gonna put this in again. Let's go microwave, 30 seconds at 50% power, and let it go. Now there are a couple different ways that you can melt your chocolate. You can do it in the microwave, you can do it over a double boiler. There are even little, it almost looks like mini slow cookers that are candy melting, I guess like little cookers. I really just like using the microwave. I think it's fast, it's simple, it makes for easy cleanup, but it does require you keep an eye on it so that you don't scorch it. Now real quick, while these sit and this melts, I want to show you, there's a lot of different brands of candy melts out there. Wilton makes one. This is Baker's Corner. Let's see, this is Sweet Tooth Fairy. I got these at all different places. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Target, Aldi. You can find them at a variety of stores. Whoops. But what's different than with candy melts versus just something like a chocolate chip or a white chocolate chip is that it already has the other properties needed to be able to coat whatever it is that you are making. So whether that be you're just making straight out candy or you're making something like a cake pop or dipping strawberries, this really has everything you need. You don't have to add any extra oil. A lot of times if I don't have candy melts and I am just using chocolate chips or white chocolate chips, I like to add about, I would say about 1/4 teaspoon of oil per 1 cup of chocolate chips. So just kind of use that as a rule of thumb. I think the oil helps to help it glide on better, and it gives it a nice shiny coating. So this is starting to get soft. So you can see, it just takes time. Now, let me go ahead and show you. All right, let me go ahead and show you the next step. Now, I like to use styrofoam molds to hold my cake pops. These hopefully have had enough time to get hard. And I have my white chocolate here. This should sit for a couple of minutes, but I'm just gonna give it a bit of a stir. Now there are a lot of different ways that you can coat your cake pops, but of all the different ways that I've tried, this is my favorite. Let me get this one too. So what I like to do is I just take the cake pop, take it by the stem, and then dip it straight down and pull it straight up. I've seen different ways where you turn it. I've seen ways where you put it in and spoon your melted candy over it. But I really like putting it all the way in, letting it just coat that top of the ball right there on the stick and pulling it straight up. Now, this is another thing that I've seen lots of different people do, and it really just is a matter of figuring out what your favorite way and what your method is. I like to just kind of hold it and give it a little swirl. You might see, if you can see here, I have a couple little bubbles. Whoops, that one just popped. You can just use a toothpick and pop it if you need to. That looks pretty good. So once you give it a swirl and nothing else drops off, oh, there we go, then you know you're just about ready to turn it. I've also seen people, and will sometimes tap it on the edge of the glass. This also helps distribute it, but I have found sometimes that it makes the cake pop fall off. So whatever you do, you really just need to be gentle. And then once you have your cake pop nice and coated, you can put it into something like styrofoam, like a styrofoam block. Maybe you have, sometimes I've just even set it in a cup. But the most important thing is that you try to keep it upright because this is still wet. You can see it's still dripping here. I didn't quite get it. But because this is still wet, if it is leaning, all the chocolate's gonna go one way or the other, like I just did. There we go. All right, little extra right there. That should have it now. And you know what? We're just making these for fun at home. They don't have to be perfect. I am not a professional cake pop maker. However, I am really good at giveaways. So I want you guys to tell me for our first giveaway for a $100 Shipt credit, what is your favorite holiday sweet? So these are really ideal right now because they're delicious for Thanksgiving because you have that pumpkin, but pumpkin pie is still a flavor that really goes into the December holidays. And it's just, to me, it's just kind of that with the allspice and the nutmeg and the cinnamon. It's just a warming type of flavor. So I'm loving these right now. But let me know in the comments what you are making and what your favorite sweet is during the holidays. And we will pick one of these answers at random and give you a $100 Shipt credit, which I know right now during the holidays, we could all use, me especially. All right, so you can see this one. Now, while it's still wet, I'm gonna let this one dry and show how you can pipe, but another option, while your cake pop is still wet, you can use sprinkles, you can use edible glitter, whatever you like, chopped nuts, and just sprinkle it right onto your cake pop. Now, I found this is a really forgiving way to be able to decorate, especially if you're like me and decorating cake pops just isn't necessarily your life skill, but this is something that's easy and fun and will make people happy, then this is the thing to do. And I didn't get all the chocolate off. I got a little excited and wanted to get to the sprinkles. And that is what is a little bit difficult sometimes, gauging, okay, are we gonna drip? Which the good thing is if you do drip, it's hard and you can just kind of pop it right off once it's hardened. But I'm gonna set this right here next to this other guy. And then I wanna show you something else. All right, so let me move these out of the way. Oh, I'm tempted to lick my fingers. Let me wipe my fingers off real quick. And we'll check on our green chocolate. And I wanna show you some of these other ones that I've done. So a minute ago at the very beginning, I pulled over one of these to show you, but let me show you the rest. So you really can go with any type of theme. So whether you're going more in that Thanksgiving type of mindset or theme, going along with the pumpkin, you can use something like orange sprinkles. You can pipe, and I'll show you this in a minute, a little bit of a color like an orange candy melt and a little green candy melt. Put that in a bag and pipe it right on to make a little pumpkin. You can even just make little zigzags, or like I just did with the sprinkles, you can use chopped nuts and put that right on. So lots of options. And then if you are thinking more winter holidays, maybe you're thinking about something that would be fun as far as like snowflakes and everything. Using blue candy melts or blue sprinkles would work. If you want to go Christmas, of course, red and green is a good option. I do feel like the color candy melts take a little bit longer. This is why I've been laboring over this one. I don't want to scorch it and then we're all hanging out waiting to do it again. But at the same time, I don't want to undercook it and not be able to get a nice good drizzle. So let me get this guy going one or two more times and I'll show you what you have once you've let your, oh, it's not a good one, once you've let your candy harden, and it really just takes a couple of minutes. you'll see you have a nice firm cake pop. And this is a really easy way then to be able to decorate with it. So let me clear off my board really fast. And while I'm clearing this, let's do our second giveaway question. And that is, what is your favorite entree during the holidays? Whether that is to eat or to make. So you just told me your favorite sweet, whether to eat or make. What's your favorite entree? What's your favorite savory during the holidays? Because I am always looking for new ideas. So I would love to know what you guys are making. Let me get these candy melts out. I'll put these over here for just a second. Too much stuff. But really, at the end of the day, this is only 2 ingredients. You have your Larabar, you have your candy melt, and then if you want to add something like a dusting sugar or edible glitter or nuts, you know, you can add that on. But when you think about making real cake pops versus making one that has that same exact flavor and texture, it's 2 ingredients, you can't beat it. All right, so this is my trick. Let's see if it's ready. Fingers crossed. This is my trick for piping. Oh, I lost my spoon. For piping your cake pop. All right, I may just let this sit for a minute. The residual heat from the bowl does help to melt that chocolate. I may need to go one more time. All right, so we're almost there. You know, it has at the beginning, I said you want it to be a little bit more the consistency of paint, not so clumpy. So let's try it one more time. This should be it. I think the biggest thing when making these is just having patience. So let's review real quick our steps. So number 1, get your main base color melting while you start making your cake pop balls. And it doesn't have to be white or vanilla. You can use a chocolate. You can start with the green. You can use whatever you like. And you also can double dip if you want a thick candy coating. So this one is already dry. If you double dip, make sure it's all the way dry before you do it again. And then you just put it right back down in your chocolate. Look at that. That's gonna be one that my daughters dive into and just, melt because it's so delicious. That makes her a giant bite. But it is nice because sometimes you get an air bubble or you get a crack in your chocolate. And this is a good way to save it, unless you do like I do sometimes and just coat it with sprinkles and call it a go. This is a good way to save it. If you have a crack, you can just wait till it dries all the way and then do a second dip. So I'm gonna put this here. Let's add some more sprinkles to this one. I think I'm a little heavy on the chocolate, so it may, let's see, anything else coming off? There we go. A little bit more coming off. And then while it's wet, add your sprinkles. I hear you, microwave. My microwave singing to me. So is this making you guys hungry yet? So we cut our Larabar in half, or we started getting our chocolate melted. We cut our Larabar in half, made it into balls. We took the stick, dipped it into the melting chocolate, or melted chocolate, popped it into the bottom of all of the cake pop balls. Let that dry either on the counter or in the fridge or freezer for a few minutes, and then dipped away. All right, I'm gonna let this sit, but how yummy. Look how fun and festive. I'm gonna put this over here in my styrofoam, make sure it's just sticking straight up. Can you see that in the camera? I'll put this over here. Now, the green should be good to go. Get all the stuff rearranged. Fingers crossed, we are ready. Looks good. Okay, so here's what I like to do. Stir this up. We want that good thin coating. Now, there are a couple different ways that you can drizzle, dip, whatever. You can take a cake pop, let me take the spoon out, and maybe dip it halfway, just for a different look. So you're going green and white, and then you can go back after the fact and add some red to it and give it some swirls. Let's see here. I have a few little reds. You can add those on for fun. Or because our white is still melted, you can always put that into a bag or use a toothpick and drizzle it right onto your cake pop. Okay, now I'm just playing. All right, so let me stick this one here. Something else that you can do, get the sprinkles out of your chocolate, is take a plastic bag, and I think the easiest way to get your chocolate, your candy coating into the plastic bag is to put it on a cup and take that little corner that we're gonna snip, put it down in the cup, and then spoon your melted candy into the bag in the cup. Because I always find when I'm trying to do this with two hands, holding the bag, trying to get the candy out of the bowl, it can kind of be a mess. So then once that's there, you can just lift it straight up. I'm gonna go down into that corner again. It should be warm. Give it a little turn so it doesn't go squeezing out the top. And then, I got nervous for a second. My little friends helped me clean the kitchen last night, and I never know where they're going to stick things. Just give the tip of your baggie a teeny clip. Hopefully that's not too much. Let's see here. And then I just like to kind of make sure I can tell the consistency. And then decorate away. So you can do things like just little curly cues. The great thing is it doesn't have to be perfect because they taste so good. You can do curly cues. You can make a big old mess. All right, so my curly cues weren't perfect, but I think it works. It dries cool. You can also, I was playing with this earlier, make a little Christmas tree. And this again would be if you had your red melts or your yellow melts or something else ready, and I'll go back later and add on to this. So you'll be able to see in the comments. We have our tree right now, kind of like the pumpkins. Let this get hard and then I'll add on to it. It will be a tree. And then something else you can do, if you want to do curly cues, is just drizzle back and forth. So easy. I do like to let that little excess go off the sides, just so it doesn't wrap around. There we go. You can also turn it. So many options. Now, I think what I'll probably do after I finish these is, here's another way. Just keep your drizzle and turn. I'll go back and melt some red and go back over some of these so it has the red and the green. But I just wanted to give you some ideas and a few tips, because this really is one of those recipes that anybody can make. Anybody can do. You don't have to be a professional baker. You don't have to be a professional chef. And I really like the fact that these are individual. Right now, holidays are gonna look pretty different. And you know, there might be a gathering that you go to where people are gonna not be so sure about all sharing out of the same pie. Well, that's okay, because now you have little individual pumpkin pie cake pops, and they taste so good. Let me bite into one and show you. Yum. Absolutely delicious. I'm sure I now have orange sprinkles all over my face, but we have to finish the last question. After I finish talking, it was so good with my mouth full. Question 3 per $100 Shipt gift credit is, if you are a Shipt member, how long have you been a Shipt member? Have you been a member since it first started? I think I was one of the first, I would say probably 100 people when they opened in Birmingham. And Birmingham is actually the hub of where Shipt is. I have used it for years, and they probably come to my house. I probably get deliveries once a week, at least. It's the best service. And all of these items can be delivered to your door with no problem at all. just by going on the Shipt app and ordering what you need. So I hope you enjoyed this fun, simple demo. Be sure to click the link to go to the blog that steps through all of these tips that we just discussed. It has the recipe for you and all the information that you'll need, especially some of the finished pictures, but everything you need to be able to make your own 2-ingredient pumpkin pie cake pops. Be sure to follow me as well. I'd love to connect. I'm Holly Grainger, and my blog is Cleverful Living. I'll leave that link for you as well. So connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love for you to follow along so we can make clever, easy, family-friendly recipes together that are simple, doable, and most importantly, so much fun. I hope all of you enjoy the holidays. Good luck to everybody that has entered the giveaway. And if you make these cake pops, leave me some pictures and let me see how you decorate yours. I'm always entertained with how talented people can be and just how many good ideas you have out there. So take care, everybody. Happy holidays.